have.
Yeah.
One of the things that I often do over break is read.
Likewise.
Yeah. And so we thought it'd be fun to do kind of an end of the year episode on what we've been reading and maybe what we're looking forward to reading.
Definitely. Welcome to Hallway Conversations. We are a group of educators who have plenty of questions about teaching and learning and school culture, and we believe in the value of reflection and collaboration as we seek to keep growing as teachers. This podcast is our place for thinking out loud together about issues in education and why they might matter to Christian educators. We're glad you're with us. Welcome to the conversation.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Hallway Conversations. My name is Abby DeGroat.
And I'm Dave Mulder.
Thank you for joining us in the hallway for another conversation. So we have kind of a fun little episode planned. We're just going to give you some updates on where we've been.
It's been a busy season, after all.
Yeah, and we're kind of coming into the end of the semester, looking forward to Christmas break.
Very much so.
A new year. So, how is your semester wrapped up, Dave?
Thank you for asking. Yeah. It's been, I try to not complain about being busy. My line that I got from our colleague in the math department, Tom Clark, is my life is rich and full.
Yes.
That's what I always try to say, right? And it has been. I was in Indonesia for a week.
That's awesome.
It was absolutely phenomenal. It was really, really good. That is a long travel flight.
I believe that.
Coming home from the time I left my hotel in Jakarta until I was at my house took me almost 40 hours.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, we had bad weather in between there too. And I was stuck in Chicago for a long time. But anyway, that's
a lot of podcast episodes.
Yes, it really was. But no, I was working with, there's a group of Christian schools in Indonesia that Dort's kind of loosely affiliated with, and I was doing some professional development for them. They had a Christian Ed conference that I keynoted and got to do a lot of really good work, working with a Christian university there, doing some professional development as well. And it's just
what a rich opportunity.
It was amazing.
To see what God is doing in Christian Ed around the world.
That's right.
Right? And to partner.
Yeah. And it has been great to just be connected to other Christians in other places and see, like, hey, in Christian education, this whole project of Christian education, we're actually all working on the same stuff.
Right.
And it gets contextualized different in different places, for sure.
Yes.
It does. But we're all working on the same project, and that is just really cool to see.
I think that's a really valuable perspective to bring back to the local context that you work in.
For sure, right. And to just be able to say that to students, to grad students and undergrad students and colleagues alike, to say, like, actually, we are all working on the same project here.
Right.
And how do we bring glory to God through our work as Christian
And to be
educators?
able to see just a sliver of the big work that God's doing.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, in Indonesia, I mean, I won't go way off the rails here, but it's a Muslim majority country. And to see the church on the move and this foundation that supports a lot of these Christian schools, like, they're looking to transform this country through Christian education and through healthcare.
That's awesome.
And it's happening, right? Like, it's truly amazing.
Exciting.
So, I'm grateful I had the chance. Awesome. How about you? You've also been very busy here.
Yeah, I've been busy closer to home, maybe.
Not the other side of the globe.
Right. So, I'm helping at a local Christian school, kind of helping with an interim situation until our new administrator comes in the 26-27 school year. And so it's been fun work. I've been doing some observing and some co-teaching with the teachers there, which has been really fun. At one point, I did come home and say to my husband, like, I think I could be a 6th grade teacher.
Aww.
I kind of love them.
They are so fun.
Yes, they are. So things like that. But that also comes with sometimes I'm finding subs at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And I run back and forth a lot from Dort to school, and also my own family is just very busy. So we're in the middle of a JV basketball season and a 7th grade basketball season and all good things.
Yep.
But
concerts,
rich and full.
Concert,
right? Yep. It was my birthday yesterday, which was great.
Yeah,
and I
happy birthday.
Worked all day, and then I went to a great band and choir concert. Yep. So the things that we're just in the season of life doing.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah.
Rich and full.
But wrapping up course as well. I kind of, the end of the semester is always, I love planning for my last classes and wrapping up well. And also I'm always so sad.
Yeah. And I don't want to be the prof who cries in class, but I often get a little choked up at the end of the semester.
Well, we do like a circle closing prayer, and it's really hard for me to get through that prayer without crying every single year.
Though, right?
Yeah.
And I think the weight of what we get to do in shaping future educators is never lost on me at the beginning and the end of the semester.
Right.
Sometimes in the middle it feels like scout work from the day-to-day, right? But to kind of keep that broader vision of like, this actually matters a whole lot.
Yeah. And my class was seniors who are going out to student teaching, and so that always feels like a significant milestone for them. And so I like to send them off well. And I think we did that. And
that's great.
Yeah.
I love
I'm
that.
excited for them.
Yeah.
They're a good group.
Yeah. This is, friends who are listening in, this is our exam week for us here at Dort. So it is a very full week for students for sure, but for faculty too. There's just a lot of the extra little things. I'm catching up on grading from things that are coming in at the end of the semester.
And finals.
Grading finals. And so I'm kind of, honestly, I'm looking forward to the downtime
me too.
Of Christmas break. And to have the change of pace is going to be very good.
It is. Yeah. Well, speaking of, one of the things that I often do over break is read.
Likewise.
Yeah. And so we thought it'd be fun to do kind of an end of the year episode on what we've been reading and maybe what we're looking forward to reading.
Definitely.
So that's what we have for you today. So
what's one great book you've read recently?
Oh,
there's so many.
That's a great question. Okay. So I made my list in preparation for this episode, and I realized that I've been heavily reading some literary fiction.
Oh, okay.
And so fiction that is just a little bit more dense, I would say. And one of the most interesting books in that genre that I've read this year is James by Percival Everett.
Oh,
have you read it?
Yes, it is so good.
Yes, it's so good. So I used to teach Huck Finn.
Oh, yeah.
And James is it's a twist on Huck Finn, and it's written from Jim's perspective.
Right.
And so it retells all of the events that happened throughout Huck Finn, which is written from Huck's perspective as a white child, right? And flips it, and we learn through Jim's perspective just a whole different perspective on it, and also things that are happening that Huck is not aware of, and therefore Huck Finn does not show.
Yeah. So it ends up being a companion novel.
It is.
If you've read Huck Finn, you'll see things that you wouldn't have otherwise seen.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's so well done.
Yeah.
So that was one of my favorites this year.
I think the first novel I read, the first book that I read in this calendar year.
Okay.
And,
there you go.
Yeah, so silly. I keep on my Instagram. You can follow me at Dr. Dave Mulder on Instagram. Yeah, but
that's one of my aspiring things to do, Dave, is to keep a book list. But I haven't gotten there yet. So.
Well, and I just started doing this a couple of years ago. Actually, like anytime I read a book or listen to the audiobook, I'll just write a real short review, 200 words or something like that. Hey, here's a book, and so I just post them on Instagram. And it's fun to get and to hear feedback from people like, I love that one too, or something like that.
That's
so
a good idea.
That was the first one I read this year. I think I read a lot of nonfiction this year. I read a lot of fiction too. I think the most compelling book I read this year was Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green.
Oh, I love John Green, but I have not read that one.
Okay, so I mean, if you're not familiar, friends, with John Green, he's most famous as like a young adult author, right? The Fault in Our Stars, Looking for Alaska, which are great novels.
Which are great young adult, but very young adult.
Very young adult, right? And then he's taken a turn to writing nonfiction. So he wrote the Anthropocene Reviewed, and that's one of my favorite podcasts. He basically, on a 5-star rating, like, reviews different aspects of the human-centered world. And so Diet Dr. Pepper and cholera and like all like the whole range of all kinds of things. Well, he has, and again, John and Hank Green, the brothers Green, they're out trying to make really great content, both books and video stuff, but they're looking to do some good in the world with it. And in the process, John got connected with a group called Partners in Health, and they're really working in West Africa and a lot of places to try to improve healthcare. Well, as he's gotten involved and invested there, he's realized like tuberculosis continues to be a huge problem in the world. And we actually, if we put our minds to it, we could cure tuberculosis. There's no reason like 20 million people die of tuberculosis every year.
Wow.
And they don't need to.
Yeah.
And he's just so compelled by this. He actually wrote a whole book about tuberculosis, the history of it, how it shows up in pop culture, like through the ages, because this is like one of our oldest, longest standing human diseases. And we could cure it. And so the whole book is trying to just uncover the reality of that situation. And it's the kind of book, like, I loved reading it and I hated reading it because it just bothers me so much. And it just has me thinking now, too. There are things within our capacity as humans that we could do to change the world. It would take some collective action. Yes. Is it expensive? Sure. But we could choose. We could choose this. And so anyway, I recommend it just because it was the kind of book that bothered me so much after I read it.
It stays with you.
It stays with me.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't read as much nonfiction. I have been reading mostly fiction.
Yeah.
One of my favorite authors is Ann Patchett. Have you ever read anything by her?
No.
Okay, so she's also literary, like, fiction, I would say. a couple of them that I've read previously are like State of Wonder, The Dutch House, which is probably one of my favorite books
I'm
of all time.
familiar with, but I have not read it.
Okay, yeah. And the one that I read recently of hers is called Tom Lake.
Okay.
And it is, it's the story, it happened during the pandemic. So that's when the setting is. And so that's one of the reasons I like it, is because it's the first novel I've read that's been set during the pandemic. And it's about a family who runs an orchard, and all of their grown adults come home and have to help them bring the harvest in because all of their workers are gone.
Oh,
right?
my goodness.
And so it's this mother telling stories of her youth and her time at Tom Lake to her adult daughters.
That's intense.
It is, and it's just a fascinating book, and I really liked it. But Ann Patchett is one of my favorites. State of Wonder is about a scientist from Minnesota who their company has sent another scientist to the Amazon to check on this research that they're doing, and he's disappeared. So she has to go find him.
Oh, my goodness.
And so embedded in this tribe in the Amazon, and there's just layers.
Yeah.
Bel Canto is another one I've read from hers. It's about actually a group of people who are taken hostage by terrorists, right? Like it's just an interesting. She just writes about interesting.
So she's diving into not easy topics necessarily, but making it a story that's compelling.
Just highly recommend her. Yeah, she's one of my favorites.
Oh, that's
great.
great.
That's another one.
Yeah, I read a lot of sci-fi this year when I got into fiction, and I'm a sci-fi geek. Admittedly,
it is not one of the genres that I pick up usually.
One that you might get into though, Andy Weir. I don't know.
Oh, I've read The Martian.
So you read The Martian. Okay,
I have. I did like The Martian.
Yeah. So he writes, I would say, hard science fiction where it is like rooted in science. It's not fantastical. It's not Star Wars stuff, right? Like it's like stuff that could happen in the real world, and that's kind of his whole shtick, right? Yeah. So the one that I read this year though was Project Hail Mary.
Okay.
If you've heard of.
I've heard of it.
So there's a film version of it coming out with Ryan Gosling starring. Okay. So, and I won't spoil anything because this is the kind of book like Fred's. You should read this book, even if you say you don't like sci-fi. You should read this book. So there is a cataclysm on Earth. It sounds very like hard science fiction, realistic that this could happen. And so trying to figure out like how do we actually save the human race? That's kind of the gist of it.
I do kind of like end of the world books.
There's something about it, right? And so in Project Hail Mary, the sole survivor kind of guy, well, he's not the sole survivor, but he's looking to save the human race, ends up by himself on a rocket. He's traveling to another planet. Okay. So this is kind of the gist of it. And he encounters another intelligence there.
Okay.
And that sounds very fantastical, but it is the most realistic depiction of like an actual alien encounter that I could ever describe to you.
Okay.
Very grounded, feels very real. It's funny. Like it's a clever book.
I thought The Martian was clever too and funny.
Yeah. And it is, right?
Yeah.
Just because it's such a human story.
Even though there's only one character.
Yes. And same for this kind of book, right? Like so he's the one human and there's a lot of flashbacks that kind of explain like how did he get here and like what's going on and but it is a wonderful work of really high quality science fiction. Okay. And I would recommend it.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna put it on my list.
Yeah.
I went back to another author that I've read previously, Frederick Bachman. Have you ever?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I read My Friends, which is his newest one.
Okay.
Recently, and I loved it. So it's Frederick Bachman is I can't remember which Scandinavian country he's from.
Sweden, I think.
I think you're right.
I think.
So they're translated,
right,
and so some of the settings are. Like in A Man Called Ove, it's very clearly a Scandinavian setting, right? You can tell.
Yeah.
And this one isn't as much that way. It could kind of be any city where it happens. But it's a group of friends. It's obviously called My Friends, but it's a group of teenagers. And so it's kind of like the group that I love, obviously, to teach. Right. And so it kind of has my heart anyways. But they're all misfits, and they come together around actually a painting of all things. So it's this interwoven story between a group of friends from like 30 years ago who now encounters a new member who has loved this painting that one of those original groups of friends painted, and they get connected, and it's this weaving long story.
So good.
Beautiful friendship. I loved A Man Called Ove. It's clever. It depicts being human in a way that is authentic and poignant, and it was a really good read.
It's a really relatable kind of a read. That sounds weird to say. Well, but it is though. It's a very human story, and so you get
very into the characters.
Yeah.
very
That's great.
attached. So highly recommend.
You mentioned books about teens or things like that. I read a lot of kid lit this year too.
Okay, I love it.
I love reading. Like I used to always try to hang out in the library when middle schoolers I was teaching were in the library for the library class, and to hear their recommendations, and I would take them and I would read those, or to be able to give suggestions. Oh, you read this. I think you'll like this one too. So I just went back. Some of these were rereads for me, and some of them were first time I read them. So I'll just
What
drop
made you
a couple
decide to like go back to this?
I don't know. So
Okay.
it was just kind of a weird. Well, I'd had the one and only Ivan. Which I had never read. And I was like, it's time that I read it. And reading that one just caught me like, oh, there's so many good books for kids that I want to read. So, if you haven't read the one and only Ivan.
Talking Gorilla.
Yeah. It's fascinating. It's a wonderful book. I went back and reread Ender's Game, which is also kind of sci-fi. And is that one for kids? It's about kids, and so it feels like it's for kids, too. I love that one. The Great Brain.
I have not read that.
John Fitzgerald? Oh, so it's this kid growing up in Mormon, Utah in the late 1800s and just telling about his life. And his brother is the great brain, right? Like his brother's super smart, but he uses his smarts for evil, not for good. So he's always swindling people and tricking the adults and stuff. And so it's told from the younger brother's perspective, watching this stuff happen. It's funny. Artemis Fowl.
I have not read it.
Oh my goodness, Artemis Fowl, so good. So again, this kind of sci-fi-ish. I don't know. They made it into a show on Disney.
Is there like a bunny?
No.
Like a rabbit?
Not
Okay.
that one. No.
Okay.
There's a whole series, but the original one is really good. It's funny and clever and just thoughtful. The one that I want to mention, though, for sure, is Maniac McGee by Jerry Spinelli.
Yeah.
I don't know. Jerry Spinelli is one of my favorite
He's good.
young adolescent authors. And this one, it just tells such a great story that is absolutely fantastical, and yet it could happen in real life kind of a thing, right? So Maniac McGee is this kid. He's a runaway, and he just has a series of adventures and brings a whole community together because of like sheer force of his personality, the way he is as a human being. And it's a lovely story. I highly recommend it. So I don't know if there's books that you have read, friends, that call back something you want to reread, and I recommend go back to your kid lit library and see some of these books that you maybe haven't read for a long time.
Or it's been a long time, or I like to read stuff with my kids, or one of my daughters got real into the Hunger Games trilogy again, and so I never finished the two prequels that came out. So that's on my reading list.
There you go.
Because she loved them. She read the original trilogy. This is my 13-year-old, and now and then she went back and read the two prequels, which I have not read. So that's on my So that's kind of my next.
Right.
But it's fun to kind of revisit and to rethink about things that you've previously read. Yeah.
How about some more professional reads? Have you had some professional things you've been reading? So
I read a couple professional books that I've read quite a bit because I teach them, actually.
Oh, sure.
So one of them is from my adolescent and children's lit class. It's called Disrupting Thinking by Kylene Beers and Robert Probst. Beers and Probst are very well-recognized names in the literacy scene. I've heard both of them speak. Kylene Beers just passed away, actually. But incredible teachers and researchers of literacy that I found their work very helpful. And Gwen and I often say when we teach this class, Gwen is my co-teacher in that class, our colleague Gwen Mara, and we often say that we don't know what their faith affiliation is, but everything in this book points to me like they think there is a greater story here. Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
It is.
Even if it's a sense of common grace, right? That you can see there's a bigger story.
Yes. Yeah. So this book really, it talks about how reading should change us. Right. And so as teachers, if we're approaching reading in a way not expecting it to affect students, then we're doing it wrong.
Sure.
Basically. So they introduce a framework called Book Head Heart, which we use. So what's in the book? So being able to talk about factually kind of plot points, but also literary elements, what is happening. And then what's in my head? What is it making me think about? What can I compare it to? Other things that I've read or things in the world? And then what's in my heart? How is it actually changing me? So what kind of empathetic, responsive readers are we creating with the way we structure assignments in the books we're choosing for kids.
That's great. And
it is.
Future teachers that we're working with, they respond well to this one?
They do. They like it. We kind of read it in 3 chunks, and they have to respond to it. But I've used it with grad students, too. And I've used it in a lot of presentations that I've given to practicing teachers. It's just a good, simple framework, but it poignantly kind of gets us to thinking about, instead of just test scores and competency and comprehension, like, what is reading actually for? What is this all in service of?
Right.
And in the end, it's to become more human, right? And better humans.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So one of the things I love here at Dort is we have faculty reading groups regularly. And so faculty can put together a proposal, and we actually have funding from our academic affairs office to buy books for people who are interested in reading and talking about books together. So we had a reading group this fall on Paulo Freire's classic, challenging text called Pedagogy of the Oppressed. Pedagogy of the Oppressed. I'd read it before, must have been in my master's program. I think that's when I read it. And I remember feeling very anxious as I read it back in the day. And I was reflecting back, like, why did I feel so anxious? He's poking the bear in a lot of the things he's bringing up here. And the thing, if you haven't read the book, friends, I don't want to spoil anything for you because you should read it. I think this is one Christian educators should read and grapple with.
I think so too. But knowing that he's like a communist while you're reading it messes with you.
and that's the what I found so challenging, because so much of what he's saying feels very in line with the gospel.
It does.
In terms of what we think about education.
I agree. It is a challenging text in that way, because so much of what we believe is about the oppressed and bringing
that there should be justice for the oppressed. And he's using education as his lens, saying this is a way we can do justice in the world. And I guess I would recommend it to listeners. Recognize where he's coming from, because he's an avowed communist. He is. Right? And but he's also not wrong.
I know. That sounds about a lot of things.
About a lot of things. And I don't agree with him wholesale here, right? But it's worth reading.
And it's worth thinking through his ideas from a reform perspective.
Definitely. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's my encouragement to you.
Yeah. Good. Awesome. Yeah. One other one that I brought that I also teach is in my applied ed psych class, and it's called Hacking School Discipline. And it's just helped me think a lot about restorative discipline in the classroom. So again, kind of a mindset shift from kind of a behaviorism, action, punishment without any sort of real lasting change. Kind of a paradigm shift to, taking responsibility and restoring the classroom environment, right? And what does that look like? If we're actually shaping disciples, right, it means that they're taking responsibility for what's happening and the ways that they have disrupted the classroom environment, and then how can we help them restore whatever it is, right? And and the responsibility piece, I think, is really missing. I think we think that a detention is taking responsibility, but it's actually very disconnected, right? So instead, thinking of responsibility as apologizing and making amends, and what does that look like to restore a relationship, not just be punished for an action.
That's a very different way of thinking about being in community together, right? Instead of just punishment, to think about like actually making things right.
Which I think is actually harder.
Oh, yes. As a teacher, too, it's harder. It would be a whole lot easier to just slap down a punishment on kids, right? And to do the hard relationship work of real restoration. Right,
and I don't think students often get to practice that well. And if we want them to be adults who bring shalom and restoration to the world, but we're never giving them opportunities to do that in a classroom environment.
Very formative learning experience actually for them.
So we talk about that in class, and it's a trade book. It's written for teachers. And again, I don't think everything in here is realistic for individual teachers to do. Some of it, like we talk a lot in class about how this would look in an actual scenario. Some of it, doesn't translate well to all of our school environments. But again, it's that paradigm shift of how can I be thinking about this in a different way.
Oh, that's great. I've got a couple others that I've been reading and thinking about lately. So there's a faculty reading group that I'm part of. We're reading stuff by Andy Crouch, who's a Christian thinker.
Yes.
I wouldn't say a philosopher exactly, but kind of. He doesn't write real like philosophical books. It's like Christian disciplship, maybe is the best way of saying it. But what's cool about this group, so there's 12 of us reading a whole pile of books that Andy Crouch wrote throughout the year. We're going to have read, by the time we're, by spring break, we'll have read 5 of his books together.
Awesome.
And Crouch, like, he's TechWise Family is maybe one that he's pretty famous for.
Yeah, I've heard of that for sure. I can't remember if I read it.
Probably his most impactful work is the one called Culture Making. And so I read that one earlier. I'd read it a couple years ago, but I reread it with the group here, and to read it and discuss it with a group is pretty great. So
Which
I really
is
enjoyed. Yeah. And he talks about like what is culture and how do humans engage in making culture, and he argues that this is actually part of how we're created in God's image. That we can't not create culture because God is a creator, and that's part of like God. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, there's like a sense of community and unity there. And for us as human beings in community, we can't not create things.
Yes.
And so how do we make good stuff? How do we make beautiful stuff? And so it's good. It's really thoughtful.
Even people who think they're not creative, right? Like I've heard about, I can't remember where I heard it, but someone talking about the atrophy that happens if you're not creating. And the ways that comes out sideways.
Very much so.
Right.
Yeah. And you can't not. Like, that's what it means to be human. Like, we generate stuff. Even if you feel, well, I'm not that creative. We might not be artistic, but that's not the same as not being creative.
You're right.
Yeah. So anyway, we read that one. I have one that I'm going to read over Christmas break because we're going to discuss it coming up here. The book is Strong and Weak, which is kind of reflections on power and influence. And actually, the subtitle on it gets at risk-taking and flourishing. So I'm excited about that one, too. But all this is aiming towards, I mentioned spring break, the 12 of us are going to go to New York and actually hang out with Andy Crouch for a couple of days. And so I was really grateful that we had the opportunity to do this. We used some of our professional development funding here at Dort to be able to do that.
That'll be a great trip.
Yeah. And just for the culture making among our group as well, as we've been reading these things, but to then have that shared experience to get to go and do that. So I'm really looking forward to that.
And I hope you're going to see a little bit of New York.
We are, I mean, so we'll be there for like 5 days, and 2 days of it will be with Andy. And the rest of it is just kind of, being in community. We rented a big Airbnb so we can live together and cook together. So there's that aspect of it, but we'll do some touristy stuff too while we're there and just, get to experience, again, the sense of culture making. Like, let's go to a cultural, iconic place and spend some time together there too.
Awesome.
So that'll be fun.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
And what else are you reading over Christmas break? Do you have things you're looking forward to?
I'm in the middle of actually a big historical fiction book right now that I hope to finish over break. So a long time ago, I read The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. Have you ever read it?
I've never read it. I'm familiar with.
So it's basically about building a cathedral in the medieval times.
Okay.
And so it's like the story of this builder and what happens before and kind of like, because building a cathedral takes a long time.
Right.
And so it's multiple characters who come into contact and are part of this process over a long span of time. Yes, generation type things. Yep. And so the cathedral gets built in that book. And this one comes back and it's actually set during the plague.
Oh,
and it's in the same town where this cathedral has been now for hundreds of years, and kind of the descendants of these people we read about in Pillars of the Earth, and what happens to lead up to that, and also how this town responds to it and all of the things. So I love a historical fiction. But
what's the title of this one?
It's called World Without End. It's a 3 series. I hadn't realized when I read Pillars of the Earth that it was a series, and so this is book 2.
Cool.
Yeah, out of 3. So, but it's like it's thick. So
they're stout. Like
they're
800-page novel kind of a thing.
But really intriguing, and so I'm just a little ways into it. So I hope to finish that over break.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
The one that I'm in the thick of right now is written by one of our colleagues in the English department, Howard Scott, professor
His
of
memoir.
English. Yeah, he wrote a memoir. It's called Rooting Upon the Waters, and it's a memoir of his growing up years in Southwest Minnesota.
Okay.
And that's where my wife is from. And
okay.
so this feels very close to home.
Yes.
And he writes. He's just such a good writer. Like,
well, I know that.
I'm jealous. Kind of reading like, man, he's so talented. But it is really, really good. I'm only a couple chapters in right now, and it's kind of like he goes to some hard stuff. I mean, this is set during the farm crisis of the 80s, which really affected a lot of communities in the upper Midwest, right around here. And he talks through like his relationship with his dad and the rest of his family, his grandpa, and it's a lot about fishing. And Howard's a
okay.
fisherman,
Okay.
and he starts off these beginning chapters kind of talking about fishing with his dad and how so brooding upon the waters is kind of like his dad's own mental health struggles and fishing and how this is all kind of part of his story.
Fascinating.
And I can't wait to see where it goes. Like I said, I'm only a couple chapters in, but
that's
it's
on my list too, actually.
Yeah, I recommend it. It's really good.
Good. Okay. Well, hopefully that gives all of our readers some direction if they're looking for something over break to read. Hopefully you can find some time to refresh and relax and maybe expand your thinking a little bit. And
whether it's professional or for pleasure.
Right. Correct.
We should spend time enjoying things to read.
Agree.
Right.
Yes. This wide world.
Yeah. Indeed.
Yeah.
Friends, we know your time is valuable. We want to thank you for joining us today for another hallway conversation. Whether it's this day, this week, this month, or this year, we hope that the Lord gives you what you stand in need of. And we want to thank you for the good, God-delighting work that you're doing in your schools and communities. And as you go into this week, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace. We hope you have a great week, everyone, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Hallway Conversations was originally dreamed up by Matt Beamers and Dave Mulder during one of their actual Hallway Conversations. It's created and produced by Abby DeGroat and Dave Mulder. Our music is by Ethan Mulder. Hallway Conversations is generously supported by the Center for the Advancement of Christian Education at Dordt University. You can find out more about the good work CASE is doing at cace.org. Thanks for listening, friends. I always love talking about books.
I know. I do too.
Right? And this is, I don't know, it sounds so silly to say, like, follow me on Instagram for all my book reviews, but, like, I hope...
It's a good idea.